everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Astronomy Unplugged, where our conversations really reach for the stars. I'm Preeta.
I'm Sanjana.
And I'm Shri.
Now, today we'll be exploring the very ever so sci fi topic of does life exist outside of Earth? But before we start, we're going to tell you guys a little bit about ourselves and what got us into the topic of astronomy. Shri, would you like to start?
Sure. So during third grade, this one person came to my house selling books, and the one book that interested me was about space. And when I bought that book and started reading that book, I got so interested in space that I want to pursue a career in it right now.
Okay. Now, mine was also when I was a bit younger, and I remember I had no career in mind, but in first grade, when we learned about the stars and all the 8 planets in our galaxy, that really caught my attention. And that day, I remember going home and telling my parents, I want to be a space scientist. And soon after that, I learned that that's what astronomy is.
Unlike Preeta and Shri, my passion for astronomy started like a little older than they were. In middle school, we were like having a lesson about space, and there were like many unanswered questions, and that got me curious to what the answers were to those questions. And before that, I used to have like careers in mind, like engineering, entrepreneurship, and like stuff in the IT field. But now that like there are many unanswered questions for space, I want to know the answers to them.
Okay, now let's run back to our original topic for this podcast. Does life exist around Earth? What do you think, Shri?
I think even in our solar system, there's a lot of places that life can exist, even though it's not right now. I feel like there's a potential there could be, like for the Jupiter and Saturn moons and the Mars.
Okay, now I'm gonna contradict that because except for our own Earth, I think it's pretty rare that we're gonna have life within our solar system. But what makes you think that you would have life in our solar system?
Because before I was during seventh or eighth grade, I was doing a research for some science project, and then I found out that like Jupiter's and Saturn's moons have like ice and water, and there's like a lot of research going on it, and there's like um subsurface oceans. There are like theories about oceans and like underneath the ice, and even in Mars recently there's been a discovery of like water on the surface of Mars. So I think there is a possibility there can be life.
I agree with Preeta. Like, I don't think there is current life other than like life on Earth. But I also see like Shri's point of view because I've heard a lot of things about like potential life on Mars.
Okay, since I've heard a lot about Mars as well, especially from NASA and their goals and how they've explained that they have found ice on Earth, which could have been a past of life on Mars. So I actually think that there's different Earths outside of our solar system, like super Earths, that can harbor life. So, for example, according to NASA's websites, there are super Earths that are outside of our solar system. Now, the term super Earth is actually just according to the size of the planets. They're usually bigger than Earth, smaller than Neptune and Uranus, but they have a mass that is like in the middle of both of them. Though these planets have had an atmosphere that could harbor life. Now, we're not sure of it, but some of them are too hot to have life and some of them are too cold to have life. But my viewpoint is if we were to find life outside of Earth, it would probably be from these super Earths.
According to NASA, there's many missions that are happening right now called the Artemis missions, and this is an effort to find like habitable areas other than Earth. And there are four different types of Artemis missions.
So Preeta, do you know when the next Artemis mission is going to be launched?
Now, I think that's actually a question that Sanjana would most likely know.
So far there's like current Artemis missions going on like right now, and the first mission was is to like see test like the space launch system and the rocket Orion spacecraft to ensure they like are safe for future missions. And Artemis 2 is the first will be the first crewed mission of the program. Four astronauts will travel around the moon for about 10 days to test the spacecraft systems and like real space environments. Artemis 3 will land astronauts on the moon, a moon's south pole for the first time, and they'll like explore the lunar surface. And Artemis 4 will focus on building a space station near the moon called the Lunar Gateway, and this mission will like support long-term exploration.
I also heard that Artemis 1 already happened, and that the Orion spacecraft, like, it was able to test it out. How do you think that this will help us find more life on Mars, as you had said before?
So it could help us like test out technologies like Sanjana said, and so by testing out technologies, we can like reiterate them in Mars and make space stations in more habitable, Mars a more habitable place. And like we can, there's also a few challenges, so we can overcome those by testing out the Artemis missions and stuff.
NASA's also conducting extensive research because people think that Earth won't be as habitable as it is like now in the future. So they needed like another location where people can move and live there happily. So these Artemis missions are like to get ready for all of that.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. I didn't know that NASA was working so hard to make Artemis as special, because we've like grown up learning about the Apollo missions that were made through NASA, but with Artemis we're making like a step forward, not just reaching the moon, but making it more habitable. So
Recently, I've been researching about Mars about for a science project, and I stumbled upon like a research paper talking about dark oxygen in our ocean, and I was thinking that it could be possible on other planets too, like on Mars. And there have been theories that show that like Mars has more water than on Earth right now. So there is a possibility we can live and like sustain life on Mars. You know?
And I agree with Shri. This could be a possibility because the planet Earth is closer to the sun than Mars, so it receives more heat, which causes it to be water instead of ice. And Mars has a lot of, according to like research, Mars has a lot of ice on its planet, and since it's not receiving as much heat as the Earth is, that's why like all the
Water is frozen.
yeah.
now I also agree with these two, because we all know like the Earth before, it's been our like habitable place. It was like full of a lot more rock and molten than it is now, and that could be the possibility of what happened with Mars. We don't know much about our galaxy and our solar system yet, so it could be possible that Mars was once maybe more habitable than Earth, and through the formation of the solar system, Mars could have been once like the perfect place to live, but that has shifted and we've just never been alive to see it. And now this could be the reason that there is frozen water, ice on Earth today. So I think like what we've like come to like find out is that even if there isn't life, or there wasn't life currently on other planets other than Earth, or like even like celestial bodies like the moon, we can make it happen by making it more habitable. But I think it's also important to make the Earth more habitable, because that is where we're living right now. That's it for our first episode of Astronomy Unplugged. I'm Preeta,
I'm Sanjana.
And I'm Shri.
and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.